many things for me. It showed a different form of resiliency, more took me from a physical to a spiritual resiliency, mental resiliency. And it also solidified the fact that the this isn't just a vessel we live in. It's like we learned in the course, we're physical people, but we have certain experiences that kind of turn the page over to actually look at it from a different point of view. The perception changes where you realize your spiritual being is having a physical experience because the way we think, the way we calibrate, the way we start to the frequency of when we vibrate has an effect of the occurrences that happen in our life. And when they seem like they're negative, all that mental resiliency, that spiritual resiliency keeps you that steadfastness to see it to the other side. Well, then you look back and think, I got it. I got it. So that solidifies the faith even more and it strengthens your stance. So any other storm that comes in your life, it's just part of the process of growth. It kind of, but then at the same time, it's build and grow, build and grow, build and grow, build and grow. So it happens. It happens. Tell people nothing that you've learned, nothing, no training that you receive up to this point, don't negate it as a waste because you never know when you're going to have to revert back to it later on. You're going to actually leverage that later on. When I was in that point, I sat myself and I thought, okay, I was a survival instructor and I already have the discipline of knew how to survive. If anything, I can go live in the woods. But of course, we don't live in a society where we can do that. But the principles are sound. For example, I started to apply the life principle, and which stands for LIFE. It's spelled LIFE, but L stands for logically assess your situation. When I was in a bad situation, I said, okay, here we go. What do I have? Logically assess the situation. What skills do I have? I started putting all my skills on the table. What do I have? I have this certification from the Air Force. Got this type of training. I have a degree, but it's not really specialized. I mean, not very general, but it is. I do have a degree, and I started putting everything and say, how much money do I have? Do I have a car? What's my time factor? So I started to look at my situation and say, I still have food. I have food, water, shelter, and clothing. Okay, we're good. I got my necessity. Now, I inventory everything you have. That's when I put everything on the table. How much money do I have? How much certifications do I have? What can I leverage at this point? So I logically assessed the situation. I didn't emotionalize. I objectively laid it out on the table. Then I inventoried everything that I have, everything I'm worth. How marketable am I? What can I do? What can I leverage? My military training, my certifications, my communication skills, my cyber skills, all of that. I laid it on the table. Then app, formulate a plan. When you start getting busy, they say the idle mind is a demon's workshop. What you don't want to do is get into a point where you're idle in a crisis and just scroll Netflix or half the time because all you're doing is kicking the can, but you're not objectively engaging the situation. And when you get busy, moving towards the situation you're getting, I find that that situation moves towards you. And this is where the saying that says what you're seeking is seeking you. When you engage in seeking it, that's when things start to change. And I ask myself one question: how how can I get this back? I think the universe hears that because it was after that, after I formulated a plan and I applied the the enacted, put it to work, put feet on your faith, put boots on the ground. That's when I was able to find the side. I leveraged my military training for a security job, which led me to the people that I met that introduced me to the secret, that introduced me to the training, that introduced me to the book. That book introduced me to a new way of seeing things. And the new way of seeing things put me in connection with other people. The recruiter got back into the Air National Guard, leveraged my time, used that it was all island hopping from position to opportunity to opportunity. But in each one, it was a gain. Each one was a gain. And because I had written it down, I had written down what I wanted and just in very details before me. And I would look at it every morning and every throughout the day. I had it memorized. So I would just it would come to the screen of the mind, screen of the mind, screen of the mind, screen of the mind. And then it would opportunities would show themselves when you're ready and when it's the right time. You have to apply the persistence. You have to apply the patience. Persistent, persistent, um, patient, and perseverance. Those are the three P's. You have to have the vision, and it's potentialized by persistence, perseverance, and patience. Because if you can't have the persistence to keep going, the perseverance to weather the storms that it takes of growing, of breaking down and growing, breaking down and growing, and the patience to wait for the right time for those opportunities to mature themselves in their time and when they're ready for you. And also when you're ready for it, because sometimes you don't get it because you're not mature yet. You're not mature to handle it. You sometimes not going to get more money because you still don't know how to handle the money you're not gracious for what you have. You're not showing responsibility. So you have to go a little bit of hardship to value money, know what to do with it, then watch the money show up at that point.
I
That's
love
how.
that. And I can relate so much as well, like you said about three P's, that maybe I had one or two of those P's, but then the third one, and mix and match. And definitely the latest one I picked up is patience. For me, patience, because I want results
Yeah.
now, because like, I believe I'm fully capable of achieving X, Y, and Z, and they're not coming, and you get frustrated. But I also realized that perseverance and patience is definitely the key elements. And if you stuck at it, if you stick at it, it's gonna come. It's coming. You patience sometimes is much needed. It can't just
Yeah.
like happen.